Hey, it's Alfred Krieger here, and this is the final part of the Demystifying Shadow Work series. And today we finally cover the authentic and the best shadow integration methods developed by Carl Jung. And let me remind you that everything is based on my book Pistis Demystifying Jungian Psychology, and you can get your copy when you join my newsletter down below. So, the common advice about shadow work always revolves around generic journaling prompts, doing visualizations, following guided meditations, and the worst of all, in my opinion, reciting affirmations. But let me ask you an honest question. After everything you've learned, do you really think that Carl Jung would propose anything like that? Seriously, think for a moment. The man devoted his entire life to advancing the psychology field and exploring the unconscious. Have you seen the entire collected works? And now people are claiming you can integrate the shadow, a remarkably complicated process, by sitting in your room and answering a list of generic questions, or doing a few weird visualizations, or even reciting a few phrases looking in the mirror. And I'm sorry if you ever fell for it. I also wasted a lot of my precious time with useless practices. But when you read Jung, you quickly realize that these exercises are nothing more than childish wishful thinking. And the worst part is that a lot of people feel worse when they follow these practices. And the main reason is that none of these exercises are connected with real life. They promote passivity, a childish mentality, and in worst case scenarios, dissociation and psychotic symptoms. Exploring the unconscious is serious business, and if you are unprepared, you can quickly be engulfed by the shadow and the unconscious. And also, things like generic journaling prompts don't promote a living dialogue with the unconscious, as most of the time you're just answering things you already know from a conscious perspective, and quickly get stuck in a tunnel vision. And for journaling to be effective when it comes to shadow integration, you have to enter the active imagination state, as that's the only way to have a living dialogue with the unconscious. And this leads us to Carl Jung's methods. In essence, Carl Jung proposed the use of the dialectic method, and in other words, we want to establish a dialogue with the unconscious mind to understand what's being repressed, bring it to light so it can be matured, and embody it in a healthy way. And for it to happen, we need a strong and mature ego complex capable of containing the unconscious and rooted in reality. Now, before we advance, I want to recap a few things. And I want you to remember that the most important concept in Jungian psychology is conscious attitude. And this is basically someone's core beliefs, patterns of behaviors, it's someone's MO. Also, the relationship between conscious and unconscious is compensatory and complementary. And this is important to shadow work because the shadow always reacts to our conscious judgment. So, in other words, the shadow is composed of everything we judge as bad, negative, or inferior. And remember that this involves both good and negative qualities. And as we've discussed many times throughout this series, the problem isn't the shadow, but how we perceive it. Also, the personal shadow is mainly formed by complexes, and these complexes produce fixed scripts in our minds that drive our behaviors and decisions. And since complexes are the main elements of our projections, they also create relationship patterns. That said, the first element of shadow integration is learning how to disrupt these narratives and create new ones, new stories, new possibilities by transforming our insights into practical actions. So our inner work must be embodied. And remember that shadow integration is all about balance and not letting all your instincts loose and identifying with the shadow. And that's why we say it's a dialectic procedure, as integration involves giving life to what was repressed in a healthy way. Now, contrary to popular belief, Carl Jung developed several methods to explore and integrate the unconscious and the shadow, such as the analytical process based on the dialectical method we just discussed, the psychological types, the animus and anima, dream interpretation, and also active imagination. And we focused a lot on complexes during the series because they're the main elements of the personal shadow, and their nature is to be personified. So this means that these complexes are the characters we find in our dreams. They're the figures we encounter during active imagination, and they are the main driving force behind creative endeavors. And also, when it comes to the psychological types, the functions that aren't conscious are also experienced as complexes. So, for instance, a thinking type will have an unconscious feeling which will be experienced as a complex, and also vice versa. In my case, I am an intuitive type. So, this means that I have an unconscious sensation, and this unconscious sensation is experienced as a complex. And lastly, the animus and anima are also the main complexes responsible for our relationship pattern. So, as you can see, complexes are everywhere. And that's why the shadow integration journey should start with learning the psychological principles and methods to properly deal with them. And I covered the main ones in the first two parts of the series, and I will link it over here for you and also down below. Now, Carl Jung's analytical process focused heavily on three pillars. We have dream interpretation, active imagination, and creativity. And these three pillars gives us direct access to these complexes and help us uncover the archetypal principles that are governing our psyche. Dreams, for instance. Through their symbolic language, they reveal the scripts that we are adopting and also provide new possibilities. And with active imagination, we can have a direct dialogue with these complexes, reach new agreements, and understand how to embody these forsaken parts. And with creativity, we can give life to everything that was repressed and uncover the most authentic parts of ourselves. And I also think this is the best method to sublimate dark impulses, and finding our truth. And lastly, creativity is especially important when it comes to the animus and anima integration. And I cover all of these methods in my courses. And I invite you to check my accessible masterclass Catabasis, the Shadow Integration Manual down below. And if you want the complete solution, you can check the Audacity University. And lastly, if you want one-on-one help, I also invite you to check my mentorship down below. Now, after everything we explored, perhaps you are still thinking about shadow work prompts. And let me be clear that I'm not against journaling, as I do it with active imagination. But I honestly find generic prompts completely useless. And again, you're not going to integrate the shadow by answering questions. And you don't have to excavate every inch of your past to heal either. So, if you take only one thing from this entire Demystifying Shadow Work series, I want you to remember this. The key to integrating the shadow lies in transforming our perception of what's being repressed and taking the time to give these aspects a more mature expression through concrete actions. Because shadow integration isn't an intellectual exercise, and if our life doesn't reflect our inner work, no, this pursuit is meaningless and most likely childish, wishful, and magical thinking. And the same thing is valid for dream interpretation and active imagination. I mean, we can have insights, but if we don't apply them, everything is useless. So I want to end this with an example. So let's say you always wanted to be a musician, a writer, or you name it. But you never went for it because you didn't want to disappoint your parents and maybe you doubted your capabilities. So you chose a different career, and this creative talent is now repressed. But after a few years, you realize that you must attend this calling. And you can spend some time learning why you never did it in the first place, like how you gave up on your dreams and have bad financial habits just like your parents, or how you never felt you were good enough because you experienced toxic shame. And don't get me wrong, this is important in the beginning, to evoke new perspectives and challenge these beliefs. But most people stop there. However, the only thing that truly matters is what you do with your insights. And you can only integrate the shadow by devoting time and energy to nurturing these repressed aspects and making practical changes. So, in this case, you need to make time to play music, compose, maybe take classes, and you have to decide if this is a new career or if it will remain as a sacred hobby for you. Again, you integrate the shadow and further your individuation journey by doing and following your fears. And that's why obsessing with shadow work prompts will get you nowhere. It's tough, but we must sacrifice our childish illusions and understand that there is no magical solution. Because healing and integration aren't a one time thing, but a construction, and it happens when we put ourselves in movement and with every small step we take. And lastly, to conclude, I think that most people put an overly negative focus on inner work and constantly capitalize on fear. It's always about dark and destructive things. But if you to understand that the unconscious is also the matrix of our creative potential, our gifts and talents, and everything we are meant to become. Remember that Carl Jung used to say that most people live lives that are too small, and this is the main source of their hardships and lack of meaning. However, the individuation journey involves having the courage to find our own answers and face our fears, and it involves daring to be who we truly are. And finally, if you enjoyed this series, you should check the next one over here.